DevilNeverCry.
What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and welcome to the return of the Vergil Must Die S-Rank run. This glorious mission, Mission 10, the one everybody hates. But it doesn't matter, because I'm going to show you a nice, straightforward way of getting the S-Rank at the end of this mission, doing all the things that the best DMC players do, like take damage, and drop combos, and spam super moves. Well, we don't necessarily spam super moves, but essentially this mission is playing catch-up. We're going to get a nice, healthy, chunky, thick, with 3 Cs style point ranking at the end of this first encounter. I think it's like just over 6,500 style points, which you need to get above the 6k threshold to get an S rank, which technically we can do it with only 5k, provided we don't die throughout the mission. But it's going to become quite evident very quickly that this mission's ranking system is absolutely fucking scuffed, broken. And I say broken lightly because, being honest, this is the special edition. Capcom have had several, well, years at this point to fix the ranking system in this game, because a lot of people have been talking and complaining about it, and they haven't, which leads me to believe that it's purely intentional. Somebody just basically decided to put the back end of the ranking system for this mission in a blender, or into a car and drive that car off a cliff and just let it die, because that's what's happened. But I digress. So, we're currently suffering a heat wave here in the UK, which is wonderful. 40 degrees Celsius for anybody who doesn't know. And the houses in the UK are built to insulate. They're built to keep heat in because it's such a cold country, right? We also don't have AC here. It's not a widespread thing. And the heat, of course, is, as we get the old mark, the devil there, the 666, the heat in this country is humid. It's not a dry heat. And so when you combine all of those things, they become a wonderful amalgamation of just a fucked up hell on earth, which is not a literal hell on earth, because again, we're not going to be using that move, or we're going to try not to, because it will fuck our style ranking here. But it is horrible, and so I've got the window open, so if you do hear anything that I haven't managed to edit out, it's not somebody screaming trapped in my basement, it's just simply the neighbor doing the same thing. And we're going to take damage during this encounter, and I contemplate, should I go ahead and restart the mission? And I decided, screw it, we're Vergil, we're just going to force things through, we're going to press on, We ended up being a bitch to Mundus for several years just to restart this mission, right? And it works out okay. We're going to take a healthy chunk, a loss of style points at the end. We go from 6.5 to like 6 flat, so that's 600 points lost. Even though we're playing fairly decently, we've got the triple S rank going. We've got the Judecca here, which is a dickhead enemy. I'm not gonna lie, it's just annoying to deal with, but it's cool. We can make it work. And then there comes a point later on in this mission where we fight a single Fury, and I decide, screw it, I don't have the patience to deal with you. Why don't I just hit you with a deep stinger? Just like Mundus used on Vergil. And it ruins our style ranking to the point where, again, I was seriously contemplating at that point restarting, but I decided to press on, and yes, this is a one take of this mission. I mean, I did open up this video saying this is an incredibly hard mission to do, to get the S rank, but, it just goes to show that you can do it with a little bit of ingenuity. And I made a little bit of a schoolboy error, actually, with the previous upload. So I accidentally uploaded Mission 11 before this one, because for some reason I thought in my mind that I'd already done this, but I hadn't. And so I think subconsciously it was just my mind's way of trying to get me to not do this mission, because it's just an annoying mission to do. But I digress, we press on. We fight some Beyblade enemies here, some wonderful Beyblades, which anybody ever used to watch that show? I think I've still got some of my old childhood toys running around somewhere. I used to have 2 of the ones the main cast had, which I think are pretty cool. But that's a tangent for another day. So, I'm recording this audio actually on the ahead of the recent announcement of Bayonetta 3's release date, and it got me thinking about character action games in general and sort of what the status of them we thought would be post DMC 5. I remember people thinking there would have been a renaissance or a resurgence of character action games post DMC5's release, because obviously it is the grandfather of the genre. You know, it's made a triumphant return, it's sold fairly well. You know, perhaps this will inspire other studios to make and do similar things. And we haven't necessarily seen a resurgence. We've definitely got some new games, I guess, who have taken inspiration from, or, you know, are character action games. Of course, Bayonetta 3 being the big one, you know, which has made its return, which was announced before DMC5, right? 2017. End of 2017 is when Bayonetta 3 was announced. Finally released, you know, 3 years after DMC5, whereas DMC5 was like announced and then dropped within the span of a year. As we come up against the Fury here. But yeah, other than Bayonetta 3, it's not much. We've got Solstice, which is coming out this year, which is a DMC light kind of game. It's not a proper pure character action game. We've got Gungrave, which again is an interesting take on a character action game. I think it's pretty cool. And this is where we get another 600-point loss, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? What have I done? I've started off this mission so well, and I've scuffed it already. But yeah, Gungrave, Solstice. We've got Project Eve as well, which is interesting. I'm not sure when that, you know, drops. I'm not even sure if that's going to be a full DMC-like game or a proper character action game. Who knows? But in the past, we've also had the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, which is, well, it's a tricky game, and I'm wondering, you know, what is going to be of that series in the future, and if Ninja Gaiden will make a triumphant return, because with Ninja Gaiden 3 and 3 Razor's Edge, I'm not quite sure how well they sold, but I know the general reception amongst fans and people who play those games, who have tried it, has not been very positive, you know, myself included. I know there are some people who really like that game. I'm not one of them, unfortunately. But it makes you think, you know, they had Yaiba Z come out, which I don't know how that game sold, what the reception of that was, but it obviously wasn't proper Ninja Gaiden. So it makes you think, you know, what's to come? Is 4 ever going to be on the horizon? You know, the DMC series, you know, essentially revived itself from the reboot, which not only split the fan base up quite severely, it also didn't sell amazingly, you know? You had people, and I find this hilarious, you had people stating the fact that it sold just as much, or if not more, than DMC2 as some sort of, you know, amazing achievement, you know, which doesn't make sense. You know, DMC4 at that point should have been the pinnacle of what people were comparing it to, which was the best selling at that time. Anyway, that's another tangent. Regardless, if DMC can come back from that, I'm sure Ninja Gaiden hopefully one day will perhaps make a return. You know, if not with 4, perhaps a remake of the original game. Obviously, Itagaki's no longer in the picture. I don't even think he was in the picture for Ninja Gaiden 3, and I think he's just announced some sort of new studio with NFTs or crypto or some other bullshit, basically, which is, yeah. People have not had a positive reception to that either, which is hilarious. But we press on. Again, now we're getting dangerously close to the style point threshold of 5k, where if I drop below 5k, I have to restart the mission, because there's no way that I'm going to be able to get the S rank, even with the 20% multiplier for not dying. So we find the nearest goat and we decide to go make shish kebab, or lamb, or whatever you want to call it, the magical flying goat lamb, magical flying lamb goat, whatever you prefer. But yeah, I'm still feeling somewhat confident. I think at this point I was like, screw it, I'll just see what we can do, see how far we can take it. So also because I didn't really want to restart, you know. There's one thing I hate, it's restarting missions, you know, especially when some of the encounters are annoying. As we take out the enemy quite smoothly. But yeah, pressing on again with the old character action discussion, it makes you think about the future of DMC, which is something I've covered extensively. And at this point, it's anybody's guess what's coming next. You know, I thought that mobile game was going to be announced, you know, for a Western reveal or release date. You know, we already had the announcement that it's coming to the West, but we've had nothing so far. Obviously, Tsuno-san's working on Dragon's Dogma 2, which is amazing to see. I know a lot of people perhaps wanted him to be working on the next DMC, but for those of you that haven't checked out Dragon's Dogma, I severely suggest you do. It's been heavily discounted as of late, if you haven't picked up the Dark Arisen sort of re-release. But it's, you know, it's an action, it's a JRPG, you know, but it's not turn-based. You know, and Tsuno's, well, he's heavily involved with the DMC series, so he knows what great combat feels like. So if you're after an action game with fantastic combat, whether it's, you know, a melee-focused build or a magic-focused build, I definitely suggest picking up Dragon's Dogma. But they're working on Dragon's Dogma 2. They went for the pretty cool shirt reveal like they did for Resident Evil 2 Remake. But, you know, what does that mean for the release date of Dragon's Dogma 2? Because, you know, if they're going with the old Capcom adage that they're recently going for with reveal and then release within a year, does that mean Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming within a year? You know, I feel if it was, perhaps they would have shown off some gameplay. Who knows, though? We're not sure. Perhaps maybe we're going to get something at TGS, Tokyo Game Show, or Jump Festa, or at that, perhaps at the Game Awards. You know, there's still quite a few end-of-year events in the industry where perhaps these games can be revealed. Having said that, actually, now that I think about it, we also have, on another entirely unrelated tangent, the return of Bleach, the anime series, which some of you may or may not know. Nero from this game is you know, voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, who also voices the protagonist of Bleach. And interestingly enough, the love interest of the protagonist, Orihime, is also voiced by the same person who voices Kirie in DMC, which is an interesting turn of events. I distinctly remember the Bleach memes around DMC4's release. But that's going to be returning in October, and I'm super hyped. Out of the original big three, I think Bleach is the one I like the most. Obviously, One Piece is still ongoing. I've got like probably around 200 or 300 chapters at this point to catch up on at the end of the Dressrosa arc, which I'm probably going to do soon as I struggle with the platforming here. DMC and platforming, fuck me. Considering that the author of One Piece has announced that they are now entering the final saga, which people seem to think maybe means the final arc, and so perhaps it will be done by the end of year, which I sincerely doubt. By stating final saga, I think they mean the series is going to be ending within the next 3 or 4 years, because the previous sagas obviously have lasted that same amount. But we come to the final encounter here, where we've got a lot of enemies, and I kind of just am sick of it at this point. You know, we're just on the cusp of not getting this S rank, so I decided to just throw caution to the wind, throw out a Deep Stinger, throw out a Judgment Cut End. I go against what I said at the start of this video, and then we're left with this old bad boy who we're going to pound like our life depends on it. Oh, we've got a goat to keep us company as well. Oh, I'm sure he's probably sweating as we now target him. You know, imagine being an enemy in this game, seeing a bunch of summoned swords surround you, or perhaps seeing your own lock-on symbol appear on your own chest. You know, you'll probably start sweating bullets or sweating summoned swords, you know, if we're using that turn of phrase. And at this point, it's do or die, and so I'm kind of wondering, and I'm checking. We've got just over 5k style points, so we've got the S rank in the bag. As previously mentioned, don't touch any buttons when you get into this encounter, and it won't count as an encounter, and it won't ruin your style point average, and you'll be fine. Of course, we can just stand here and watch Vergil job, as he normally does. He's always the villain that gets his shit pushed in. And that is going to be the S rank. So, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.